Hello and welcome. Today we've got a real short video on a little unit that a company sent me to check out. And no, we're not going to turn this into the all reviews all the time channel, but this little unit actually I found quite handy. It's one of those third arm units. Now, we've all used these guys, the ones that sit on the bench. I don't know about your lab, but I find space is at a premium, and I might not use this thing for several weeks. What do I do with it? I don't want it sitting around on the bench, and I usually stick it in a drawer or on a shelf somewhere, and it takes me 20 minutes to find it. I don't have a photographic memory. If I put it down here on the very corner of the bench, it's going to end up getting knocked on the floor. So when they sent me this little unit, I was pretty pleased to find, first of all, look at the reach. I can sit it on the bench and I can reach inside of whatever I'm working on. When I was working on this radio earlier, I was having a devil of a time with the solder and the soldering iron and holding the component, in the position I wanted it. With this guy, I've got the reach to get into a fairly deep chassis. These arms are nice and long. I can clamp it on the bench anywhere I want. With a quarter turn, it's loose. They've got rubber on all three surfaces to keep you from marring the bench up. And I can put it down here on the end of the bench, and it is secure. It'll stay there, out of the way. I know where it is. I can't knock it on the floor because it's clamped to the bench, and when I need it, move it back over into position. It came with 3 arms. Let me get the thing back in the field of view here. It came with 3 arms. It came with 4 alligator clips. That's an extra alligator clip. It came with these little soft jaws you can slip on the end of the alligator clips, or crocodile clips for the fellows on the other side of the equator. Down there in Australia, I believe they call these crocodile clips. We call them alligator clips pretty commonly here in the US. So that's kind of nice. And another nice thing, the trouble I have with a lot of these third hand units is when you've got these 8th watt or 16th watt resistors with the real fine leads on them, you stick them in the jaws, and that time it actually held. Usually you end up there. See, it slid right out. The teeth on the jaws usually don't line up well enough to hang on to these components. I found that the jaws on this unit match up so well that I can pull the jaw no matter where I clamp it in these jaws. It hangs on. There's a thumb nut, and I can lock the jaws in any position I need them. Turn the thing over, lock it there, lock it down. That's a handy feature. However, this thing is far from perfect. The main problem I have with it, there's no flats where these things screw into the base here. So you've got no way to tighten them in unless you put a pair of pliers or lock vice grips on here to lock the thing down on here. Now they do say use Loctite or super glue. I have most of the flavors of Loctite thread locker. However, if you Loctite them in or super glue them in and these get damaged, how do you get them back out? You're going to make a real mess trying to get these out with a pair of vice grips if it's super glued in. These should have a flat on them. The second problem I had is these little thumb nuts for locking the position. When I got this, the way they make this is they thread in a set screw into the body, and that's Loctited, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. But the thumb nuts were tightened down against it and got Loctited down here, and when these came in, you could not break these thumb nuts loose. Now I knew they were thumb nuts just from the shape. I ended up putting these in the soft jaws of my vise, and I had to use a pair of channel locks, you know, slip jaw pliers. And it took considerable force, even that way, to get these to break loose. And once I got them loose, I had to spin them up and down to clean the Loctite off the threads. Then I was able to use the nuts. When they put these things together, they shouldn't run them down against a fresh Loctite, because you can't get them apart. In fact, I'd venture most people that have bought this don't even know these come loose, because they were so tightly Loctited down. I'd also like to see, now this is just personal preference, I'd like to see 3 holes on the top. There's more than ample room up here. In fact, you can see down here, this one's in the center. There's more than enough room to spot 2 holes on either side. In fact, I bet I could even get an extra hole here and a hole here with enough thread to, or enough meat left after threading, that they'll be securely installed. I may or may not do that, but I'd like to see the 3 holes on the top. You can leave the hole down here, that's fine, but I don't think I'm going to find much use for that hole from this position. That's just personal preference. But absolutely positively, Design 101 says you got something like this, you put flats on here for a wrench, or even make it a hex. I mean, the machine that swedges that on there could make a hex out of that very easily. Where to get them? Well, they've got them on Amazon under the name KOTTO, KOTTO. This one goes for about $17 on Amazon. They have a website, fstop-labs.com. If you go on that website, there's not a thing about this product at all anywhere that I could find. It's all about drones. They sell drones and drone accessories. Maybe that's all they want you to do, is go find their drones. But if you go on Amazon under KOTTO and third hand, you'll find a variety of these. In fact, this one, like I said, $17. You got one here for $24, $39 for the star-shaped 5-position one, and $26 for the square one with 4 arms. Again, those don't interest me because bench space is at a premium here. If you've got a lot of bench space, or you do jewelry and you need the extra arms, it might be a good option for you. Are they perfect? No, but boy, I sure find this thing handy for working inside of the chassis. In fact, the clamp would close down and you could actually clamp it right here on the edge if you had a big old radio, one of the big old Holocrafters receivers, or any of those big old boat anchor type receivers. You could actually clamp it right to the edge and put the arms inside to do some work. Kind of a handy feature. Okay, that's it. I'm the Radio Mechanic, short and sweet. We're out of here. Enjoy.